Analyzing and storing logs. Now, logs is very important for troubleshooting. That means whenever we have any problem in our system, so for identify the problem we need to check the logs, because whatever happen in the system, it generates some kind of logs. So logging and logs are very important for doing the troubleshooting. So first, now here we will see how is the logging system and where we'll get the logs. So first, system logging. So process and the operating system kernel need to be able to record a log of events that happen. So whatever event happens in the system, it has to be recorded, and it is recorded into the logs, and these logs can be useful for auditing the system and troubleshooting the system. By convention, the logs, this directory, where log directory, this is a log directory which is under where, is the directory where these logs are persistently stored. So these logs are stored in this particular directory which is under the where directory, the directory called logs. Now, a standard logging system based on the syslog protocol is built into Red Hat system, Red Hat Enterprise Linux. Now, syslog is a protocol for doing the logging. So it collects the log from every system or other things. So it is actually inbuilt. It is built into this Red Hat Enterprise Linux. Now, many programs uses this system to record events and organize them into log files. Now in Red Hat Enterprise Linux 7, syslog messages are handled by two services. So there are two services in this RHEL 7. One is systemd general D, and the second one is rsyslog. Now how they work? So the systemd general D daemon provides an improved log management service that collects messages from the kernel. So this is the service which collects the messages from kernel. Now the early stages of the boot process, but it collects it in early stages of the boot process. Now standard output and error of daemons as they start up and run. Now whenever the system services starts or run, it generates some information or logs, so it collected by the systemd general D service. Now and syslog and syslog. Now it writes these messages to a structured general of events that by default does not persist between reboots. Now whatever the logs this systemd general D collects, it writes into the systematic way, but it is not persistent. Now what that means is when our system is restart or reboots, it removes the previous logs information. Now this allows syslog messages and events which are missed by syslog to collect in one central database. The syslog messages are also forwarded by systemd general D to rsyslog for further processing. So whatever the messages generates, this systemd general D is the service which collects the messages, and it is stored in a structured way. We can see these messages also. We can see these events by using general CTL command, but it is not persistent. That means whenever system reboots, these logs will purge, these logs will remove. Now okay, so systemd general D collects the messages and provided this to rsyslog for further processing. Now rsyslog service then sort the syslog messages by type, or type that is called facility also, and priority, and writes them to persistent files in the where log directory. So it do what the rsyslog service job is to collect those services, those events from systemd general D, and stored it into this directory, and it is stored it into persistent way. That means whenever our system reboots, the logs will not remove, and also it will sort those logs messages by type and priority. Type is also called facility and priority. Now these are some important logs we have in that directory. So the var log directory holds various system and service specific logs files maintained by rsyslog. These are some of the important logs we have there, which is first under the var log we have messages. This is the most syslog messages are logged here, and the exceptions are messages related to authentication and email processing that periodically run jobs, and those which are purely debugging related. That means most of the logs goes into this file messages. Exception is like security related, like authentication related, email related logs, and also the logs which is run by periodical run job, like this is for the cron job. So whatever the cron jobs create logs, it will also not go to the messages, and those are which are purely debugging related. Rather than that, all the logs whenever your system generates whatever, it will go to this messages. So all the logs goes to these messages, and also which is some of the logs which is purely debugging related. That means for separate services, like for example when we install web servers, so web server has their own log files, so their logs will go to their own directory, their own log file. Then like if I install something, some other services, database services, some other application like FTP or something, so their logs also goes to a specific file or directory. Other than that, all the other logs will go to this messages file, this log file. It's a file, it is messages. So authentication related logs will not go to messages because it is having its own log file. So there is another log file which is important log file is secure, and this is the file where you will see all the security and authentication related logs and also messages. This secure log has the security and authentication related messages and errors. Now other thing which is not going into the messages is mail related, because mail is also having its own log which is mail log. This log file with the mail server related messages, so it will have all the mail server related messages into this log. Then again the cron job logs will also not go to the messages because it also have its own log file which is cron. This log file related to the periodically executed task, so it stores all the files, all the logs related to the periodically running task. Then the also like this debugging related logs are also not going into messages because it is also having its own log which is boot.log. This message is related to the system startup are logged here. That means whenever our system starts, so it creates the log file here, and in that file, in this log file, it stores the events. All the events happens when we boot the system. What services is started, what services is not started, what is it giving error or nothing, so what is working, what is not working, everything will be stored here in this boot log. So when our system boots, it will store all the information into this boot log. So these are the important logs we have. Now analyze a syslog entry. So when we see any log there and when we open those logs, so what the system logs written by our syslog start with the oldest message on top and the newest message at the end of the file. So when we see those entry in the file, you will see like the old message will come up, and at the end of the file you will see the new messages. Now all log entries in log files managed by the rsyslog are recorded in a standard format, and this is the example of this standard format. So when we tail, like I'm doing here tail, I'm using tail command to see the secure log. Now it will do what with F option? It will do what? It will show last 10 lines because tail command shows the last 10 lines. But this F option do what? It will continue to show the new logs. Like if it is coming, some new logs are coming, then it will continue to show those logs if I use F option with tail. Now when you open the log, you will see something like this. Let's see first. So all the logs are in this where log directory. So all the logs are here, and when we see this, we can see all these logs. So we have these messages log file, then we have boot.log, we have cron, we have mail log. So these are the logs we have. These are the important logs. We have secure log. Other than that, we have other logs directories here. Like these directories are for the specific logs we have. Like for Yum server, we have a specific log. Then we have for Samba server, we have a specific log directory. We have HTTPD directory for web servers log. So some services has their own log directory, and if they don't have, then the logs will go to this messages log file. Now if we check one of these log file, let's check this secure file under where log secure. Now I'm giving F option with tail command. So it is showing last 10 lines. Now it is not showing the 10 lines because there is no 10 lines there. Only 3 lines are there, and it's still waiting for the other lines. So it is still waiting for the new entries. So if you have if I have any new entry, then it will show. Now what we are seeing here is a specific format of logs. So if we see any log, secure log, message log, mail log, cron log, we will see the same format of the logging. Let's see, like I will check this log of messages. Now here it is showing last 10 lines. It is keep printing the new entries. So when we see these logs also, it is also having the same kind of format. If I see other log like mail log, and it is not having any log. Cron log, I don't think so. Cron log has also any log. Okay, it is also having a log. So we are having a same kind of format for logging. Now what is this format? So this is the format of any log. Now format, you can see the first you will see the timestamp when the log entry was recorded. So this is first, it shows the time, like date. First is showing February 11 and the time. So it shows the timestamp when the log entry was recorded. Then second, it shows this, the host from which the log messages was sent, log message was sent. So here it will show you the machine name. It is the host name. By default we have not having any name, so it will be localhost. So here in the second part, second space, you will see what? You will see the machine name. Then the third, it shows the program or process that send the log message. That means the program, the service, the message, the process which is generating the log. So here you will see that service name, program name, or even a process name. Then in fourth, you will see the actual message sent. So whatever the message it is, it will show you that message, that actual message. So as you see here, you can see it in the machine also. We can see here also, these all logs are in same format. So first, if you see, this is the date, timestamp. Then we see the machine name. Then it is the service or process who's generating the log. and then this is the actual message. Finished this, starting log rotate, finishing the log rotate, starting this, that. This is what log rotate. Then if I see the other logs of other file, like from secure file, from message file, I'll see the same format. Like in message file I have this log. First it is showing what time, timestamp, then machine name, then the service or process who is responsible for generating the log, which is systemd here, and then this is the message. Started fingerprint authentication D1. So these all logs are same format. Here in this secure log also we can see timestamp, machine name, service who's generating the log, and then the actual message. So this is how, and this is the format of the logs. Now syslog files. Now when we see the files, so many programs uses the syslog protocol to log events to the system, and each log messages is categorized by a facility, that is the type of the message, and a priority, that is the severity of the message. There is 8 priorities are also standardized and ranked as follows. So we can see these are the priority and severity we have, and the codes. If you see here in this is what the priority codes. So first if you see the 0, that means it is priority code. The priority is what? Emerge priority. This means what? System is unusable. That means system is unusable. When you see the message with this priority or either code 0, that means it is saying what? System is unusable. Then 1, when we see 1, that means alert. Alert means action must be taken immediately. That means we have to take the action immediately, otherwise our system will get corrupt because of that thing. Then number 2 code means crit, that is critical condition. Number 3 is error, that means non-critical error condition. Number 4 is warning, this is like warning condition. Then 5 means notice, that is normal but significant event. Then 6 means info. Info means informational events, that is just an informational events. Then 7 is debug, and this is debugging level messages. When we do the debugging, at that time when the process generate any messages, those messages get the priority of debug. So these are the priority of the messages we have, and facility means the type of messages we have. Now the rsyslog service uses this rsyslog service uses the facility and priority of log messages to determine how to handle them, and this is configured by the file, and this is the file of this rsyslog configuration, which is under etc, and the file name is rsyslog.conf, and by the star.conf files in etc rsyslog.d, it's a directory. Now either we can manage it from this directory, this file which is rsyslog.conf, this is the main configuration file for it, like which facility and which priority logs will go to which file. So we can manage it by this configuration file, all the behavior of this rsyslog service, or either we can do manage the files within this directory rsyslog.d directory. Under the directory we can have any files, name could be any star, but it must have a extension of .conf. Now why we use this rsyslog.d directory? Instead we can edit this directly on the configuration file. Why? Because you know what, we get some updates of services or applications. So when we get updated with this rsyslog service, then what happened, they can sometime remove this or edit this rsyslog conf file. This is the main file. So it sometime do what, when we get update, it re-edit this or make it as a default again. So our configuration could be remove whatever the configuration we made into the real main file. So if you don't want to lose those, instead of updating, we create our own file into this directory with this .conf extension. Name can be any, and that can be, it is also loaded with this service. And also what, it will not change if your service or application will update it, this rsyslog application. Then programs and administrator can change rsyslog configuration in a way that will not be overwritten by updates to rsyslog by putting customized files with the .conf suffix in the directory. So why we put in this directory? So that it will not be overwritten by the updates rsyslog. So whenever we get updates, so this main configuration file can be overwritten. So if you are changing into this main configuration file, that means your changes can be overwritten. So if you don't want that, then what you can do, you can create a new file, custom file into this directory. Then this section, this is a section of rule, or under this rsyslog configuration file contains the directories that define where logs messages are stored or saved. So when we see this main configuration file, so under the main configuration file we have a section called rules, and this section directories define where log messages are saved. So when you open this file, you will see this section. It is defined that where the logs file will save. Now let's check that file first. I'm opening it with vim under etc rsyslog.conf. There is one more directory is there, which is rsyslog.d, and it's the directory, and under the directory we have these two files, which is a sample file for this cluster and listen.conf, which is also there. So we can create our own configuration file also in that directory. Either we do this or we can add it directly the main file. So if you see the main file, it is like this, where we have some configurations available, and these are the comments which is starting from the hash. These are comments. This is module section where it is loading these two modules for journal. Then we have global directories where it is defining where is the directory, where is the working directory, and where is the timestamp, how it is taking the timestamp. It is including the configuration files from this directory, and it is saying, you can see here, it is including configuration file from this rsyslog.d directory. So name, it is saying star, so name could be any, but it must be .conf. So it will load all the files from there, and we can make a configuration file there also, omitting local logging on, and these are the general option. Now this is the section which define where to store those logs. Now here we can see first, which is enabled, the option which is enabled here, the rule which is enabled here, it is saying is star info mail none, auth preview none. Now these are what facilities. We can see mail, auth preview or Chrome. These are called facility. Facility means type, and these are what, in this side it is defining the priority. So it is defining is like this, defining of these messages are like this here in configuration file, facility dot priority. So here first line, first option is saying star. Star means any facility dot info priority. So whatever the info priority, that means informational messages for all the facility, that means all the types, will go to this messages file. Then it is saying that mail dot none, that means mail is what, the facility, the type, and none means no priority. So with mail facility no priority, that means nothing will go to messages. Then same for auth pre facility, none, that means for authentication related, security related, no messages will go to this file. Then again for cron facility, no priority, that means no messages for this cron will go to this file. Then second line it is saying here that auth priv, that means all the authentication related messages. Here it is saying star, that means all the priority will go to this secure file. Then mail related, all the priority messages will go to mail log. Then cron type, all the priority will go to this. Then everybody gets emergency messages. Now what it is saying here, that from all the facility, messages for this emergency priority will reach to every user, that means everybody, and for that it is dumping the message onto the terminal. That means it is this. So it will actually do what? It will print all the messages which is related to emergency. Remember, it is what, system will be unusable. So these all messages will be directly get into the terminal of everybody. That means all the users which is logged in. And then we have these UUC news.critical. This is saves the news errors of level critical and higher in a special file, which is this spooler. And then it saves the boot messages also into the boot log, and that is what, local 7 facility, all the messages will go to boot log directory, boot log file. So these are the logs rules we have, which defines that where to store these logs. And if we want to forward some logs into some other file, not in these default files, then we can make our own entry. Like we have some application or we have some kind of message type of messages, and we want to forward them to some kind of special, to some kind of other file, then we can make our entry also like the same thing, like this, same like this. So we can make the entry for our forwarding log. We can make it into this file, or we can make it into a new file, new custom file into syslog.d directory. So either we can change our entry into the same file, this main configuration file, or we can create a new custom file into this directory to not be overwritten by the updates of the program. So instead of logging syslog messages to a file, they can be printed to the terminal of all logged in users in the default rsyslog.conf file. This is done for all messages that have emergency priority. So we have seen it that all the emergency priority will go to directly to the terminal by that entry. Now if we want to change something, or if we want to test our logging, that whether it is going to somewhere or not, we can do this by using this logger command. This logger command allows you to set a log message to a syslog service. So this command, using the logger command to test rsyslog.conf file configuration. For example, I will make some new entry there. Let's see that. I will make new entry into the main configuration file. Let's say here I will say For local 7, let's say notice priority. These files, these logs should go to where log, and I'm creating my new file here, like say I will say like notice dot log. So whatever the log comes for this local 7 facility about this notice notice priority, it will go to this new file. So this is what I want. So I will make this new entry. So just like this, we can make also new entries for ourselves or for our application. So we can forward some logs into somewhere some other files. Now this is going into this file. So I made this and I will save this. Now I can do this by using this directly configuration file, or I can create a new file there also. Now because I made changes here, I will try to restart the service. So systemctl restart rsyslog service. So because I made changes in the main configuration file of this rsyslog, so I restarted this rsyslog service to update the changes. Now I made the changes and I have updated the service. I have restarted the service to make update. Now what happened? Whenever the log comes for that facility and for that priority, it will go to that file. Now if I check into the where log directory, so do we have that file, notice file? So it is not there. There is no file named notice.log. So it is not there. So when the log comes for that facility, for that priority, it will create that log, it will create that file for the log. Now I want to test my changes. I want to test whatever the changes I have done. I want to test it. So for that I will use that logger command. I can use that logger command to send a log or send a message to rsyslog service and test the changes what I have done. Or I can see the basic changes also. Let's see that. So we can use that logger command. Now what? So I will use this logger command, logger -b for mentioning the priority and facility. Facility is local 7, and if I don't mention the priority, it will send the message for warning. So I am giving -p and mentioning the priority notice, because I want to send the message to this facility with this priority. Now we want to type the message that what we want to send. So let's say I want to sending log to test and enter. Now I sent the log. Now when I check, where log directory, now I can see this notice file is created, and in this file the log which we created, it will send into that file. So when you check the file which we have created under where log notice.log, we can see the message. This is the date and time, this is the machine name, who sent the log. So this user root, I have logged in as a root, and this is the actual message which is sent. We can send these log messages to any other service also. Like for example, if I sent the message to info. Now info will go to messages. Info will go to messages file. So when I press enter, this every facilities info priority will go to messages file. Now where this log goes, it goes into messages file. Let's check the messages file now. Where log messages file, and when I go to the end of the file, I can see the log here, which is sent by the root user. So we can test the log by using this logger command. By using this logger command, we can check we can send the message to our syslog service and check the configuration of the configuration file. Next thing is log file rotation. What is this log file rotation? These logs are rotated by the log rotate utility to keep them from filling up the file system containing var log directory. Now because these logs are keep coming and keep generating and writing into the file, so in a busy server, the server which is running and which is having lots of services, so it will generate lots of messages and all that, and it can fill up your hard disk where we are having this directory. Where if you are having this directory under root file system, it will fill all the file system, and it will do what, it will allocate all the space, and then what other file system, other directories will not have a space for storing anything. And also if you are having a partition separate for this var directory, still it can fill the space of that directory, that partition, so that other services will not able to use that var directory. So for not doing this, for stopping this, what we have log rotate service, this log rotate utility. So when a log file is rotated, it is renamed with an extension indicating the date on which it was rotated. Now what it do actually, log rotate utility, it will change the file, it will rename the file and save it into the same directory, and put it the extension, put it in the at the end indicating the date. Like for example, the old file will be like var log dot messages. So this is the original file. Now it is reached up to a certain criteria, certain size, and the time or certain size, or we can say time or certain size. Then what it will do, this log rotate utility do what, it will rotate the log. Now rotate the log means what, it will rename this file messages as this. So file may become like this, messages hyphen indicating the date, like 2014 10th of 30 October, this is what 10th month, and 30 is the date. So it is rotated on October 30 2014. Once the old log file is rotated, a new log file is created and the service that writes to it is notified. That means it rotates the old log file which is reached up to some criteria of time or size, and then it will create a new file of messages, and then the service will be notified that you have to now log into this file. So logging will do into the same file which is the same name, and it will store the old information into this old log file which is having the date information. Now after a certain number of rotations, now it will not keep all these log files, old files into the system. After a certain rotations, that means 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, it will typically after 4 weeks. So after every 4 weeks, the old log files is discarded to free the disk space. That means after every 4 weeks, these log files which is old, which is having this name like this, it will removed to free the disk space. So when you see the log directory, you will not see more than 4 files of this, like this. In our system, if we see, in our system, if I see var log directory, so I can see here there is only one file it is showing, because I have just installed my system. So you can see this is the main file, and it was rotated one time, and it was rotated on 25 January 2021. And you can see here this one is also rotated, cron, this mail log is also rotated, and this secure is also rotated, and also this special log is also rotated. So these logs are rotating because they are getting lots of logs. Now you will not see more than 4 files like this. Like this you will not see more than 4 files. Why? Because every after 4 weeks it will do what? It will delete the old one. So always you will see, mostly you will see more, maximum 4 files, 4 rotated files. Then a cron job runs the log rotate program daily to see if any logs need to be rotated. This is a cron is a cron task, cron job, which runs every daily. It runs daily to check the log rotate program, and if there is any log to be rotated or not. This is this cron is the service. It is the utility to run the automated task in a certain time or date. So this task, this cron utility runs every day for checking this log rotate, and it will check the directory where log to see whether any logs is need to be rotated or delete. Now most logs files are rotated weekly, but log rotates some faster or slower, or when they reach a certain size. That means daily they do log rotate. This cron job runs the utility, log rotate utility is daily, but it will rotate the log only after 1 week. That means after every week it will rotate the log, and you will see 4 files of these rotated logs, because after every 4 weeks it will remove the log. So basically it rotates every week, but log rotates some faster or slower also. That means sometime if it is reaches a certain size of the disk, like 20% of the size of the partition, like the partition which is having this directory, if it is reaches the 20% of that partition size, then it will again rotate. It will not wait for the weekly it will rotate, but if it is reached to that particular size, then it will not wait for the week, and it will rotate directly on that time, and it will remove the it will rename the file, and after every 4 weeks it will remove the old files. So this is the log rotate utility, which is important for saving the disk space. Otherwise your log files will fill up the whole space of that partition which is containing this directory. Now other thing is finding events with general CTL. As we have seen in started, when we started, we have seen like systemd.generald. Systemd general D is the service who's collecting the logs. Now what it is doing here, this systemd general stores logging data in a structured indexed binary file. It is stored it into a binary file, but and this data includes extra information about the log events. For syslog events, this can include the facility and priority of the original messages. So it is having an extra information, but it is not persistent. That means whenever system reboots, these logs will remove. These logs will be deleted. So if we want to see those logs which is collected by systemd general D service, then we can check them by using this command. We can see them by using this command, like so to see logs collected by general system D general. What we can do, we can use general CTL command. For example, we can use journal CTL. Now when we give directly journal CTL command, it will show you the logs from oldest to the newest. Let's see that. So we can use this command journal CTL. So when we give this command, it will show you the journal CTL messages, and these are the all log messages. It is in detail, and it is starting from here. You can see log begins at Monday 25 January this date and ends on this day and this date. Now I said it will not store after reboot, it will remove after reboot, but it is showing the date from 25 to 26. Why? Because since then I have not shut down my system. So when I shut down my system, it will remove all the logs, all the current logs, and next reboot it will start creating new logs. And now you can see the format of the log is the same which we have in the log directory, and we can see all the logs here. Enter to go one line, or we can press space bar to go change the page. Now when your server is running, so we don't shut down the server, so we can have these logs, and we can go through these logs for the different things. And when you want to come out, you can press Q. If you don't want to see the whole logs, then you can use journal CTL hyphen N option with any number. Like I want to see only 5 logs, so I can give this, and it will show me only 5 logs. 5 logs from the beginning. It is showing the last 5 logs. As you can see, it is the last 5 logs, and it is also showing the date from where it is starting. Q to quit. Now if we want to see only errors, so we can see by giving option P of priority, and then what priority we want to see. Let's say I want to see only error logs. I don't want to see the whole logs, I just want to see error logs. So I can give P option, and these are the all errors we can see in the red color. So these are all logs which is having an error. So we can go through what is the problem and what is the solution we can have. Now if you want, then you can go like this, like you can say what you want to see. So I want to see only today's logs, so I can go like this, since today. Now it is showing only the logs of today. You can see only for 26 January till 26 January. So it shows only the logs of 26 January. So it is showing only the logs of 26 January, as you can see. Now my server is running only for 2 days, but if your server is running for months, then you can see like this. You can see a date between, like you can see, you can give a date like since, you can say like since 2020 second month, or this date, and then you can mention the time in 24 hours format like this, since, until, and then you can specify other date. So it will define what it will show you, the logs since and until. Let's say I have only one date, so I will say January 26, logs from this time to 2021 January 26 till 22:30. Okay, misspell, only one L we need, and it is showing no logs there because there is no logs for this time I have. But you can go for a date from this date and time to this date and time. My server is not running for so long, but we can have a time here. Then if we want to see the messages in detail, then we can go for -O option. -O is for option, and what option we want, so we can go for verbose. Now verbose means it will show messages in very much detail like this. Now you can see this is the message first, date and time, then it is showing this other information, then it is showing the priority number. By the number we can say which priority it is, and then who is the transport driver, what is the message, you can see the message also. Then you can see the process ID, you can see the UID, you can see the GID, you can see the command, you can see the execution, you can see the command line, you can see the effective, cap, system DC group, unit, slice, boot ID, machine ID, host name, then the next log. So you can see the detailed information about all the logs we have.
So I have some question.
So if we want to see some log based on this, these tags like command tag or PID tag, then we can do this. This is just to search. So when I run this command, when I enter, we can see that log here. It is just showing the log. If I want to see the detail, then I will add -O option also, verbose, and I can see verbosely that this is the log and this is the command which I mentioned. I want to see the logger command. Then I have mentioned the PID also. So this general CTL command will show you the messages generated and collected by the general CTL system D general D service. But these all is not persistent. That means if I restart my system, this everything, these all events, these all messages will remove. They will not be there, and it will create new again. So if I want to make sure that these general CTL commands, general CTL messages, which is collected by the general CTL, general system D general D service, is available after reboot also, if I want to make it persistent, then I can do that by using this process. Like if I want to do this, so first what I will do, I will create a directory. First let me show you where it is storing this. it is storing it into these all logs are storing into this location. Under the run directory there is a log directory, and under that log directory we have this journal directory, and in that journal directory you see this uuid file directory, and in that you see this system journal. Now this file contains all the logs collected by this system d journal d service, which we are searching by using journal ctl command. Now if you see this file, you will see all the logs, but you see what is the color of the file? It is actually green. So this file is a binary file. So if I try to check the file, it looks like this, because it is a binary file, so we are not able to see like this, and that is why we are using this journal ctl command to check the logs inside that file. Now if I want to make it persistent, that means if I want to have the log every time when I reboot my system, I don't want to lose those logs, then I can do that by using this. Like first I will create a directory for it where I want to store these logs. So by default these logs are going into the run log directory. Now I want to store them into where directory where all the logs are stored. So where log. Now in that I will create this journal directory for my journal ctl journal d service service logs. Now the logs are the directory is created. Now first I will do what? Make sure that this directory has permission of this directory will get the permission for that service. Otherwise the service will not able to write anything in that directory, because by default this directory is created by the root user. So this directory will have only write permission on for log root user. Like if you see, it is having only write permission for root user, and other users can only read. So what we need, first we need to have to give a permission to this journal ctl journal system d journal service. So for that I will do what? I will use chown command. That means I am changing the ownership. So the owner user will be root, and the group owner I will make this system d journal service. So this system d journal service will be the group owner for this directory. Now group owner is also not having any permission. If you see, it is only having read permission. So I will change the group owner permission also. So chmod 2755. Now 2 is for the adding the group owner, adding the GUID. That means all the files inside the directory will be owned by this group. And I'm giving the permission to write and execute. So where log to this directory. Now for making it run, what we have to do, first we have to stop the service, and then we have to reboot the service. That means we just have to reboot the service. Now this service we have to first kill all the process related to this service. For that we will use kill all command. Kill all of this. I am sending this signal to this service, system D journal service. It will kill all the process related to this service first, and then what? I will reboot the service. Now I will reboot the service by using journal ctl-b command. It will reboot again. and now we are having this logs as a persistent. Now when you see the file under var log journal directory, we see that the file is there, system.journal, and in this we have the persistent log. That means when we reboot the system, still we don't lose the log, still it will be there. So this is how these log files are there, and this is how we can monitor and we can verify the logs, and also we can use the service journal CTL logs. Also we can see this journal D logs by using journal CTL command.